Oh,
There's a secret fire here. You play outside. All right, okay, here we go. Okay, here I am on the tent. The camp, Rexton. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fine. And your name is?
My name's Maude Barlow, and I'm with a group called the Council of Canadians. We're a national social and environmental justice organization.
And very, very smart and wise.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm stubborn now.
You're stuck. Are you Scottish?
Scottish, Irish.
My mother is from Glasgow, Scotland. I'm half Scottish.
All right. And you know, we have LeBlancs in our family.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
She's a McLean.
Yeah. Well, we have family from New Brunswick that are LeBlancs. So maybe you and I are related back there.
That's good. Now, and you're from Pointe du Chêne.
My dad grew up in Pointe.
En français?
I guess, oui.
Chia?
Yes.
C'est bon. Okay. Educate me on fracking. Is there anything to educate about?
Well, I think a lot of people don't know about it. So as you know, fracking is where they take massive amounts of chemicals and water and sand and they inject it really, really hard, very intensively into the ground and then horizontally, vertically and then horizontally. And it's like a bullet hitting a windshield. It's so hard. The impact is so hard. And they set off a bunch of little mini earthquakes. And that releases the natural gas, and the natural gas rises again. Their argument is it's better than gasoline in your car, and maybe that's true, but it does terrible things to the water. It uses up massive amounts of water, and it destroys and pollutes massive amounts of water. And they just tend to leave it in the ground, or they try to get municipalities to recycle the fracked water, so they get to make money from it, and the public gets to spend all the money trying to clean it up. But they just can't keep up with the poison.
That's all right. Okay.
They can't keep up with the poison water that they're producing. So it's really a really dangerous practice. It also is very bad for the air. It creates greenhouse gas emissions, and it creates methane gas, which gets into people's wells and poisons them.
Now, it started with George Bush.
Started with George Bush.
Without a proper environmental assessment,
That's
right?
His Vice President Cheney. His Vice President Cheney with his firm, it was his company, and they got an agreement that it was a secret. The chemicals in it were secret. Therefore, we don't technically have the right to know what every chemical is. However, there have been many tests done of fracked water after it's been fracked, and they know there are about 600 chemicals in most fracking, and many of them are carcinogens. Many of them are very dangerous. They're endocrine disruptors. They're very dangerous. So we do know, even though they won't tell us exactly what's in it, we know from studies what's
any chemical you put down in the earth and you can't remove it.
It's like injecting poison into your blood vein and thinking it's not going to stay. It's going to stay in that one spot. Well, I've got news for you. It's going to move around in your blood, and the water is the blood of the earth, and it's going to take this poison and move it around.
And New Brunswick was such a small population. And then we got this Louis Lapierre.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
No.
Louis Lapierre was in charge of going around the province to listen to the New Brunswickers' concern about shale gas, and he didn't have the proper degree.
Right.
He how can I say that?
He lied about it.
Okay.
So shouldn't David Alward take that as, hey, we got to start all over again? Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
I knew there was a commission. I didn't know the man's name, but I do know that New Brunswick is totally out of step with the other Atlantic provinces. It looks like Newfoundland's going to ban it. Certainly, Nova Scotia and PEI are looking to ban it, or at least put a moratorium on it. This is the only province in Atlantic Canada that's going total full blast ahead on it. And they just want to make it the fracking capital of Canada. 20% of the land here is for testing, and I think it's in keeping with the New Brunswick history. And I can say this because my family's from New Brunswick, and it's like you guys don't matter. We know what's best for you. We'll come in and we'll tell you, who's going to run things. And if a foreign corporation wants to come in and frack and do seismic testing and destroy your water and set off earthquakes, well, we're going to send the police and the RCMP out to protect them and not you. This is not good history in this province.
Why would Prince Edward Island have fracking?
Any place that's fracking, there are interests in fracking. Any place that there's fracking, gas to be fracked, there are corporate interests there to do it. You have to know this isn't just here in Canada. This is all over the United States. They're having this fight. They're starting huge fights in South Africa. They're having fights in Ireland. They're having fights in Europe. I mean, fracking is a corporation and often government versus the people kind of thing all over the world.
We have a problem here. It don't matter which political party you put in power. They're the same.
Well,
what are we going to do?
I think that if we continue to, and you guys continue to make this the issue that you've made it here, which you have, and you've made it yourselves a cause célèbre right across the country, this is going to have to become an election issue. And if it becomes an election issue, then I think you guys could find a party, you could make a party take the right stand on this because they would see it's politically smart. We did a poll now it was Atlantic-wide, but we found that 2/3 of Atlantic Canadians do not want fracking. So I think when we start to translate this into an electoral issue, you're going to find governments are going to start listening, and the Alward government will be out if they don't listen.
If you have a message for David Alward, what would you tell him?
Tell him to think about and put his people first, and tell Swin to get the hell out of New Brunswick.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.